valuation and purpose of valuation, these are the two questions that all of us need to be very clear in our mind, not only for becoming for a successful valuation professional, but even before that for passing this exam. Because this clarity about what is valuation and what is the purpose of valuation will facilitate our understanding of each and every topic that we have that is part of this course curriculum. So the valuation of course is very simple. Most of you have said this. Valuation is to find worth of an asset or a liability. That is valuation. And that asset or liability can be anything. And what is purpose of valuation, which is bigger and more important a question. So remember, purpose of a business valuation, merger, amalgamation, acquisition, takeover, transfer, all those are the byproducts. The purpose of valuation is to arrive at a decision. The purpose of valuation is to arrive at a decision. So whenever somebody is doing valuation, or whenever a company is asking a professional to do the valuation of his given asset, now why is he asking the professional to do the valuation? He is asking the professional to do the valuation so that based on the value that is conveyed to him by the valuation professional, he is able to take a decision about a particular asset, whether he should hold it or he should sell it off or whatever it may be. So the crux of the second question is, purpose of valuation always is decision making. And that means what? That means as a successful valuation professional, whenever we are executing any valuation assignment, what should drive us? What should drive us is the purpose, and that is decision making. Now, once you have this question clear in your mind, then all the doubts that you may have as to what method should I use, what approach should I use, all those doubts and everything will get clear automatically. And as I said, third thing, कि जब भी आप कोई टॉपिक पढ़ रहे हैं about the evaluation, always link it with this purpose. Always link it as to what is the relevance of this topic for the purpose of valuation. So the first topic that we are going to cover as part of our syllabus for this session is EIC analysis. As a matter of fact, just to give you little more value, I have extended EIC analysis to GEIC analysis. Now, what is GEIC analysis? GEIC analysis is global, economic, industry, and company analysis. Now, one doesn't have to be swayed by this term called GEIC analysis. It is very simple. And what does it mean? It means as a valuation professional, whenever I have to do any valuation of any asset or any liability for whatever reason it may be, I need to have very good understanding of the economy, of the industry, and of the company for which I am doing the valuation. So this means, it means what? It means that unless and until my understanding about the economy is good, until and unless my understanding about the industry is good, until and unless my understanding about the company that I am doing the valuation of is good, I will not be able to do right valuation. And that is what is, and I am adding G to it. And what is G? G stands for global. So today, the many a times we will have the opportunity of doing valuation which are not confined to the boundaries of this country, but the valuations are going global. So in that case, we not only as valuation professional, as highly successful valuation professional, not only we will need to have good understanding of the economy of the country or industry of the country, that particular industry, we will also need to have a good understanding globally as to what is happening globally. And so how do you do this GEIC analysis? अब सवाल ये है कि ठीक है, हम ये समझ गए कि भाई GEIC analysis, GEIC और EIC analysis critical and crucial, and we have to do this analysis and we have to have a good understanding of this analysis. But how do we do it? Now, as you can see on your screen, how do you do this analysis? Number one, you look at the global environment. And when I say global environment, that means you look at each and every aspect of the global economy or global political development or things like that, or global corporate development. So that is number one. Number two, you start with the economy and industry analysis, uh, and then you come to the company analysis. Now, for global environment analysis, you will have to look at the global factors. So you will have to see as to what is happening in the Europe, what is happening in America, what is happening in Japan, what is happening in the emerging market, what is happening in the South American countries, and things like that. Okay, so this understanding will need to be obtained, and this understanding, there is no one book or one article or one chapter that you read and you will get a good hold on the global understanding. This is something that will happen with continuous reading about the global economy. When you have to do the economic and industry analysis, how do we do it? So we look at the competitors landscape. So the company for which I have the assignment, what I would need to do is I would need to see as to which are the companies which are its competitors. Then I would need to do the sectoral analysis and need to have understanding of the sectoral analysis. That means different sectors of the economy, how are they doing? And then I will need to do the company analysis. Now, in case of company analysis, it will have two component. The first component, the company background. सो एंड आई एम श्योर आप समझ सकते हैं, बहुत सिंपल सी बात है कि अगर किसी कंपनी का वैल्यूएशन कर रहे हैं तो व्हाट इज वैल्यू? वैल्यू इज अल्टीमेटली इज नथिंग बट क्वांटिफिकेशन ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ एंड वीकनेसेस of a business or of an asset in terms of money. That is valuation. So if I have to do the evaluation, then I will need to be very strong in company analysis. And for being strong in company analysis, what I will need to first do is understand the company background. So what is the company background? That means everything about that company will fall into the category of company background. उसके promoter कौन है, उसका सीनियर मैनेजमेंट कौन है, कंपनी कितने साल पुरानी है, कंपनी के प्रोडक्ट्स क्या क्या हैं, कंपनी की लोकेशंस क्या क्या है, डज इट बिलोंग टू वन इज इट अ वन कंपनी और इट इज़ अ ग्रुप ऑफ कंपनी, how long this company has been into existence, what is the approach of the management or the promoters of the company. So all that will, what is the product potential, what is the product, what is the contribution analysis, all that will need to be understood when it comes to the company background. That means उनकी integrity, उनकी value system, everything will need to be understood in the company background. And at this point in time, friends, since we have a limitation of time, I can only give you a perspective कि भाई क्या है कंपनी बैकग्राउंड, यानी कि आपको सब कुछ समझना है उस कंपनी के बारे में, सब कुछ समझना है कि सब कुछ समझना है. Then when you want to do the company analysis, then the second step in the company analysis is the financial statement analysis. Now, financial statement analysis again is broken into two components. So one is historical analysis and second is the futuristic analysis. So whether it is the historical analysis or the futuristic analysis, the ratios that you would use for this purpose are going to be the same. So for historical analysis and also for the futuristic analysis, आपको क्या मालूम करना पड़ेगा फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एनालिसिस में? यू विल नीड टू लुक एट व्हाट हाउ इज द प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी. And when you have to look at the profitability, remember, and please understand, you can connect the profit directly with the value, isn't it? So the moment you talk about the value, you obviously talk about the profit. So if a company's profitability is good, obviously that company's valuations are also going to be good. If company's profitability is in a bad condition, obviously that company's valuation also in all likelihood will be also lower. So how do you do the historical analysis? How do you do the futuristic financial analysis? You look at few aspects. Aspect number one is the profitability. And please remember, profitability you can look at from different perspective. So profitability you can look at from the perspective of the performance of the sales. That means what? That means what is my gross profit ratio? How much is my gross profit ratio? How much is my EBITDA ratio? How much is my EBIT ratio? How much is my EBT ratio? How much is my earning after tax ratio? So these are the ratios that you can calculate for evaluating performance of a company for the purpose of valuation from the perspective of sales. अब एक छोटा सा आइडिया दूंगा कि ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट, अब ये तो मेथड हो गया, ये तो टूल हो गया, ये तो रेशो हो गया कि जो आपको यूज़ करना पड़ेगा, लेकिन आप इसको इंटरप्रेट कैसे करेंगे? तो अगर आप ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट रेशियो कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं तो रिमेंबर you cannot obviously come to a conclusion merely a gross profit ratio is big or high, that means it's a good company. Of course it's a good company if the gross profit ratio is higher, but then you and I as valuation professional will need to have a different approach. That means what? That means अगर एक कंपनी का ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट बहुत अच्छा है, इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब दिस कंपनी इज फंडामेंटली स्ट्रांग. And why this company is fundamentally strong? This company is fundamentally strong because this company's gross profit ratio is high. So if the gross profit ratio of a company is high, what does it mean? It means the this company is able to sell its products at a very high price. And number two, this company is able to produce its goods at a very low cost. And that is the reason why this company's gross profit ratio is high. So obviously if a company's gross profit ratio high, and I'm doing the historical analysis, and if I'm seeing that over the years the gross profit of this company is improving every time, obviously it will lead to a conclusion that this company is going to get good valuation. So we have a limitation of time, but this is how I would suggest you look at दी फाइनेंशियल एनालिसिस. अब देखिए बहुत सिंपल सी बात है, जो मैंने आपको भी बताया कि ग्रॉस प्रॉफिट को आप कैसे इंटरप्रेट करेंगे. अब it doesn't really matter whether you're doing it during the historical analysis or you're doing the futuristic analysis. Interpretation of the gross profit ratio will happen in both the situations in the same way as I have mentioned. Then you look at the EBITDA ratio. So we all know what is EBITDA, is earning before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization. EBITDA is also referred as cash operating profit, and EBITDA again is a very critical number for the purpose of valuation. In any case, remember, if a company's EBITDA is good, that means this company's future is good. If a company's EBITDA is weak, that means this company's future is also weak, or this company will need to do something so as to improve its EBITDA. If the EBITDA is not strong, then the company is going to be in trouble for the times to come. So you look at the EBITDA and try and think that EBITDA can also have a relationship with the borrowing capacity of the company. So how do you figure out? अगर आपसे पूछें कि how much should a company borrow, how would you decide? Now invariably people would say that how much should a company should borrow will depend on the debt equity ratio of the company. So if the debt equity ratio is less than 2:1, that means this company can borrow. If the debt equity ratio is more than 2:1, that means this company cannot borrow. But remember, that's only from the perspective of the lenders. From the company's perspective, how much should it borrow will depend again on the EBITDA. So if the EBITDA of a company is strong, that means this company's borrowing capacity is strong. And why this company's borrowing capacity is strong, why this company's borrowing capacity is linked with EBITDA? This company's borrowing capacity is linked with the EBITDA because when you borrow, you get money, no doubt about it. But other than money, you also get two more things. And what two more things you get is, number one, you get an obligation to pay that money back one day, back to the lender. And number two, what you get is an obligation to service that loan. So how will you service that loan from? How will you repay that loan from? Obviously, you will not repay that loan by borrowing more, or you will not repay that loan by getting more equity. You will borrow it and you will service it from where? From your EBITDA. So if a company's EBITDA is a very very strong, so when you do the, जब आप कंपनी का वैल्यूएशन कर रहे हैं और आप उसके फ्यूचर प्रोजेक्शंस कर रहे हैं और आप देखते हैं कि कंपनी के फ्यूचर प्रोजेक्शंस में जो उसकी EBITDA है, it is coming highly positive, then obviously it would lead to high valuations. And why it will lead to high valuations? Because this company has got more money available. And remember, what is valuation? Valuation nothing but quantification of the money in terms of value. That is valuation. So you look at the EBITDA, go further, find out what is the linkage between the EBITDA and the borrowing capacity, and many more such questions. I'm just giving you some of them because in a span of 3 hours, I would love to give as much as possible, but then practically it may not be feasible. So look at the profitability. Look at from the perspective of the sales.